Most business owners get stuck in their own way, and unfortunately, due to the nature of being an entrepreneur, maybe not having the environment around you, you can get stuck in these patterns. So if any of these 5 things resonate with you, you'll probably get a lot of value from it. But here's 5 tips on how you become more of an authority online, how you can grow in your business, and how you can get past some hurdles that you're facing. So the first thing that I noticed, and especially with trades, businesses like services, beauty, even fitness coaches, so on, right? Especially the online coaching space, right? Is that you're so busy working inside of the business that you don't actually work on it. Now, I've made a huge switch recently. I've been using an app called Opal, which I can show you on my phone here. What that basically allows you to do is block off any social media. So what happens in the morning is that I have a block coming in on my phone. I'm on a 77-day streak now, right? Where basically I took all the apps that I used in the morning, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp Business, and put them all on Opal. And basically until 12 o'clock, I cannot touch them. So in that time, I then focus on growing the business, moving it forward, working on the deep work that I need to do, any personal development, any like business stuff that I need to do before lunchtime. Then it still gives me 5 to 6 hours to like work in the business, do everything that I need to do. But that way I know that I've grown the business forward and then I can work on the other projects. Now, sometimes, I don't need all that until 12 o'clock. Sometimes I'll start working on other stuff beforehand. But by purposely blocking those apps out, making sure that I'm doing the work on growing the business first, that for me has been like a huge game changer. Like obviously profitability wise, like my profit's gone up probably like 2 to 3 times since just making that shift. I can't tell you how important it is. Opal app, you put the apps in there that you want to block. You can also do it in the evening so you can't look at them, so it stops you from scrolling, and maybe you have a certain time because you don't realize how much time you waste on it. Some people will waste 4 or 5 hours a day scrolling on Instagram. It's very different if you're using it for business and obviously sending DMs and starting conversations. You don't want to block it off. But if you need to stop it on your phone, but you need to have access to it onto your laptop or whatever, just so that you can send messages and so on, do that. Or if you can use another app, like as in like Meta Business to do that, so forth. But obviously it can be massive for just like getting rid of any like unnecessary messages or distractions first thing in the morning. Step number 2 is I personally find a huge amount of benefit to myself. Now I struggle with, I haven't been diagnosed with it yet, but I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, right? And one of the biggest struggles I have is that my brain can just all of a sudden see shiny objects, right? And so if I'm not in the right mindset and place to attack work by 2, 3 o'clock, which is now 2:15 as I'm recording this, my brain can go way off, right? So if I train first thing in the morning and I like literally exhaust my body, it tames my mind. It's something that I learned from a mentor, someone that I look up to called Dan Martell. And he struggles with the same thing. And he said, by attacking that, it frees my brain up to actually just operate and get on with everything that I need to do. That for me has been a huge game changer. Some people can't do it early in the morning. Some people prefer to do it late at night. It depends what cycle of your life in, where you're at. It might be easy to do it without kids in the evening. For me, I want to be with my family in the evening. So doing it early first thing and getting it out of the way for me, and that's like my time, has been a huge game changer. By getting the deep work done, so I've got something attached to me, getting the deep work done and also being present with my family in the evening and get my training done has like made a huge shift to my happiness, my progression, and just like then being able to show up as an authority because I haven't got that baggage behind me knowing that I've got everything done that I need to get done, and now I can attack the business and market it, sell, whatever I need to do, right? Another big shift is actually working on what clothes you wear for certain things. Now, this might sound a little bit woo-woo, right? But hear me out on this. I used to turn up here in my gym baggy top and like gym shorts, right? And I'd sit here and work and I didn't think anything of it. But then when I went to film content, I remember looking back at thinking like, I just looked like almost like slobbish, right? That you'd wear something into the gym, maybe a vest, a top, whatever, but it's not your let's attract business in. Now, unless you are a fitness coach and obviously you're making fitness content, and fine. But for a lot of businesses and services out there, like that's not what you do. So if you're wearing your typical workwear that you would go out on the tools, or maybe you're doing like surgery or whatever you're doing, that's beauty people surgery. If you transform into wearing, let's say, more everyday clothes or something that you feel smart, that's not, your best ball gown and your top hat and tails, but it's something that you feel confident in and you feel more approachable and like a leader, you're going to feel more confident to make the content if you've got it planned out. And so if you've been using the shift to obviously work in the business and work on it early in the morning, If you found the content that you like to look, so instead of scrolling in the evening, you've been researching in the morning, making notes and go, right, actually, I've got an hour between 11 and 12, I can make content. You're going to then be in a place where you're dressed for it, you're feeling more in the right frame of mind, you've ticked off a load of stuff, you can get that done. And then when you have to go in and attack the work and get on with it, that's when you've got the space to grow with that. And you can actually show up as an authoritative leader instead of someone who's like desperately trying to make it work, right? Now, one of the other big shifts as well is actually doing personal development work. And the reason why I'm going to share this, and most people will probably go, oh, right. If you're trying to show up as a leader, the last thing you need is a list of problems before you show up, right? I don't find it difficult now because I've done so much of it to just turn it on and talk to camera. I really don't struggle with it. However, when I was going through struggles in my personal life, with my business and so on, I was seeing all these struggles first and then trying to make content afterwards. No wonder why the content wasn't converting. No wonder why it was always a struggle and it was an emotional battle, because I just wasn't in that place to be able to create the content. So doing the personal development work on who do you need to be? Who are you as a leader, right? Now I've got 6 months worth of personal development stuff inside of my program that people can utilize to shift perspectives. I will tell you the basis of this is where your starting point is. If you're starting from a place of I'm not good enough, I'm not confident, I can't do this, we haven't got the money, all of that stuff, it won't work. You will just find problem after problem. So it's the starting perspective of where you're looking at. And if you can shift that, that makes a huge change. And if you don't know how to shift that, it's kind of what we do inside the business, right? The personal development shift is the bit that allows you to turn up and be the authority, talk with authenticity, not worry about making mistakes, but knowing that you have got the right message and you're talking with clarity. It makes a huge shift, right? And I'll tell you a true story with this. Oliver, one of my clients, whenever we did content, he would always mess up every line. He would always get frustrated with himself, but he's kept plugging away. And we found little systems that work for him, right? We actually said, why don't you get back on the tools and actually do some bits and pieces while you're delivering the content? And instantly for him, he was like, wow, I just feel better doing this. I feel easier. Even just driving his van, he just find it used because he's used to driving his van and talking on the phone. So for him, making that content become easy because it just felt more natural. So it's about taking that transition from you not being able to do the content to finding ways you can make it happen, so then when you get the confidence, you can just do what I'm doing here and turn the camera on and talk. That is the biggest shift that you need to make. But from in a practical sense, that could be 2 to 3 content shoots and you're in that place. And you're not thinking, well, I don't really want to waste the money on the first 2 shoots, but realistically, you need to learn the lessons and get some content out of it to then start getting to the good stuff. You can't just expect to be great, first of all. The personal development shift feels like it's like this, but it's actually like this. It's just the fact that you just need to realize, actually, I really want this for myself and this is what I want to do. And so by making that shift and seeing like, okay, let's say, for example, the electrician I was talking to yesterday, right? He's got the capability of pulling in 10, 15, 20 grand solar jobs. But he was finding himself doing £80 an hour tasks. So I said, what we need to just focus on is 5 hours a week of you concentrating on bringing in those £10,000 jobs. That's 20 hours a month. If I said to you, now pay someone 20 hours, you're thinking, oh, I don't really want to pay that. But if you put that 20 hours into growing that business and you've got the bigger income coming in, if you could get one job a week at 10 grand, you've just improved your business by 40 grand. That was worth the 5 hours. And that 20 hours, you could pay God knows how many people out of that, right? So just making that shift and actually showing up like, who do I need to be in this moment is massive. Because then that means that you can talk on camera more confidently. You actually know why you're doing this. You've got a reason behind it. And if you really want to go deep, you can obviously go into the personal reasons why you need to make it succeed, right? And then the next thing that I'm going to say is effectively community. Most people are sitting alone in their room, in their office. They've got no one to lean on, right? If you haven't got people that are able to take you from where you're at and shift you into that place where you become a leader, and you haven't got other people that are going through the same struggles as you, you're going to feel like the world's just on your shoulders. When I ran my personal development business and we had an event in Portugal, the life-changing transformations that happened on that trip were, for me, like one of the biggest personal achievements I've ever had in my life. One guy went from running 7-8K a month business. He's now doing probably upwards of 20, 30, maybe 50 grand a month, right? He's doing big numbers and he's done incredibly well, right? There's other people in that business that were like tinkering along, doing 3 to 4K. Some people hadn't even really started their business. And all of a sudden were doing 6, 7, 8 because they were becoming more authoritative. They were showing up as a leader. They weren't questioning so many things. They were getting more done. If you're not around an environment that's helping you grow and move forward and challenging you and your limits, you're never going to grow past them. So you need to be around people that aren't scared to say, hey, why are you doing this? Is that what you need to be doing? And holding you accountable to that. When you're around that environment, you know it because it's contagious and you want to be closer to it. And when you don't have that, if you're around people at home that haven't got that, or maybe your work environment isn't so great, or you're the leader of your business and the lads or girls that you work with don't really see where you're going in your vision, it's always going to feel like an uphill struggle. So you need that time to be around bigger thinkers so that you can pass that on to your team and help them grow, because obviously you are the leader and you're going to help other people grow. So those are the 5 things that I think are fundamental to getting business owners to not only talk better on camera, be more authoritative, feel more in control, be happier, and just generally make more profit in your business, right? So if any of that makes sense to you, I hope you've got some value from it. I hope you've taken away something from it. Obviously, smash the like, hit the follow button if you want to see more of this. If you want to know more about my program where I help people make more content in less time and overcome all of this stuff, just reach out to me on Instagram at benpaulmark, or obviously send me an email, benmarkphoto@gmail.com. They're the easiest ways to get in touch with me. But I generally hope you found this useful. And like I said, I'll try and share even more insights and information in the next video. And I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day.